Hello Internet, and welcome back to Xifeng Plays OlliOlli. Today I'm going to be trying out the daily grind, which is a spot where you have to try and just get as high a score as you can, but once you actually start it, you can practice it as many times as you want, but once you start it, you only have one chance. So it's a spot, which means that you only get one combo. As soon as you land, your combo ends, and that's the score that you get. And so the idea is to practice the course until you feel confident enough to actually try and do a combo, and then you have to just see how well you can do. So my goal before I try and actually do a score run is that I want to be able to perfect grind most of the surfaces. And see, I'm not having a very good track record with that. The perfect grind window is just narrow enough that I find myself a little bit worried about my ability to keep a combo going, because on this level what I've noticed is that if you don't perfect grind relatively often, you very easily run out of momentum and are not able to make some of the more important jumps. And see, I missed that helicopter jump, and so I wasn't able to recover. I could have recovered, but because I didn't land where I thought I was going to land, I ended up not being able to recover in the way that I needed to. It's very difficult to practice and play this at the same time. So this is a finite course. It's something that I can make it to the end of. So getting to the end of it consistently is going to be sort of the first step towards making it towards prime time. And then I also want to include some tricks in there so that I get a relatively high score. I don't think I'm going to beat the world high score anytime soon, but it's something to work towards. So this one's going pretty well. There we go. So I made it to the end that time. Let's see if I can do that consistently now, because one thing that I learned from juggling was it doesn't matter if you can do something once. Yeah, I used to juggle in high school. I actually juggled with someone who later went on to be a flying Karamazov brother. And he taught me how to juggle. And we juggled together for a while, and then kind of we went our ways. And I was pretty good at it, but the kind of juggling that I wanted to do was actually a kind of juggling that ended up just not many people wanted to do it, not many people wanted to see it, because I was really interested in the technical, sort of complex trick stuff. And really what people wanted was comedy, and I wasn't finding a lot of opportunities to do the kind of juggling that I wanted to do, so I ended up not really doing it after I changed high schools and no longer had that guy to juggle with. And so I guess that's one way in which I have been technically inclined for a long time. I didn't really understand how practice worked at that time, and I kind of only had a vague idea of how to get better at things and what it meant for something to be difficult. And so I really frustrated my friend a lot of the time, because the things that I would work on were often things that weren't actually useful to the kind of juggling we were doing. And of course, that's something that I mentioned, I think I mentioned in the Street Fighter video. If not, well, I'm mentioning it now. I actually, when I was practicing fighting games with a friend, drove him crazy by working on silly little technical things that weren't actually that useful for, winning fights. And I think that's just sort of a part of how I approach games, and approach everything, really, is that I always get fascinated by these little esoteric quirks that are not really related to what people think of as the right way of playing. And so I am landing, I'm finishing consistently, so now I want to start working some tricks into my routine, which I think might involve not talking a little bit, because I'm finding it very difficult to decide what to do at the same time as I'm both talking and trying to time my jumps. And working tricks into these long grind sequences requires a lot of forethought about what kind of grind you do. And I'm trying to do a trick that is quite difficult, and I'm not quite landing it, but that was a better score than I was getting before, so I think I am managing to work stuff in. Didn't time that exactly right. So let me see what kind of tricks I can work in, and I may stop talking as I try to work some more complicated stuff in, like this trick that I really want to do. There we go. That's called an impossible. And that's the kind of thing that, like, it's not even that difficult, but because it's called an impossible, I found it kind of interesting to try and get it down. And getting it out of the grind is pretty tricky. But it's something that I am starting to get down. And so... Sorry. Yep. I'm gonna go silent probably. It's likely unavoidable as I try to work out tricks and time these perfect grinds. And I really have to pay close attention to my trajectory on certain places so that I don't end up falling off of the combo. That's going to be something that will be problematic. Especially if my perfect grinding isn't really on point. Like there, I had the wrong trajectory, didn't land where I was planning on landing. And there I just kind of got ahead of myself, got a little greedy with the tricks I was doing, or trying to do at least. And there I got a little bit too much loft, I think. Too much loft to land on the lower grind, and not enough loft to land on the higher one. So putting together a combo is really, it's going to take a lot of practice and concentration, but it's also going to take, as much as this game is very heavily memorization based, it is also really does have an element, at least, of adaptation, because if you mess up a grind, and that's actually another similarity that it has with juggling, is when you make a mistake, you need to really quickly decide what you're going to do instead of what you were intending to do. And so you can see that a lot of times I am making mistakes that are salvageable, but because it's not what I was planning on doing, I end up just crashing. So there I managed to land okay, and actually get a perfect landing, but the combo was too short, and there I didn't quite have enough momentum. Now I need to build up more speed, and work some spins in. There we go. That was nice. And if I had landed that last bit, I think I would have gotten a pretty good score. So I need to practice it a few more times in order to start getting it down consistent. When I was juggling, I would just increase the number of repetitions that I wanted to do something. Like, I'd do it twice, and then I'd do it 10 times, and then I'd try to do it 100 times, and I would just keep pushing myself and trying to do it more and more times in a row. And so I think that's the kind of thinking that I'm going to need to get through this. What I really want to figure out is how to work the tricks into it in a way that is compatible with the rest of the stuff that I'm doing. And I think for that to work, I'm going to need to plan out my tricks fairly far ahead of time, which is going to be tough. And there again, if I had landed that perfect, I think I would have gotten a really good score. So that last landing is going to be something to watch out for, and really put some of my attention focus. When I posted a lot on the forums for a bunch of people who played a lot of different fighting games, and it was a designer, David Serlin, his forums, so people interested in Street Fighter and in the other games that he designed. One of the topics that came up in one of the sort of how-tos that one of the people posting there wrote was this idea of reaction focus, of putting all of your concentration into looking for a single thing, and the idea that you have limited reserves of concentration that you have to save over the course of a run, and that you should only expend reaction focus when you need to, and so you should watch out for where it is that you actually need the reaction focus. And of course, talking while I'm doing this really adds another ball to the, again, to extend the juggling analogy, really puts another ball in the air. So I'm not sure why I didn't grind there. I thought I was holding a direction, but maybe not. Okay, that was not quite right. So I'm not finishing as consistently as I would like to be. I think because I'm working more on fitting tricks in. And that's something that is taking up focus and making it more difficult for me to accomplish all of my goals. And see, the focus on landing the tricks is now taking my attention away from the reactions, the adaptation that I need. And so I am not able to focus on both the tricks and on recovering from mistakes. So that's something else that I need to work on. So that went pretty well. Alright, so I think I'm going to just give it a shot, and we'll see. Maybe I'll make it, maybe I won't. There's not really that much at stake here, so I'm not too worried, though I'm getting off to an inauspicious start. Alright, this is looking good. Alright, so that's respectable. I didn't get the perfect landing, and I didn't get as many tricks as I was hoping I would get in, but I managed it. So that's something that I will be coming back to, I think. I had a really good time, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please leave a like, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.